Guys, are you tired of that hairline creeping a little further back each time you look in the mirror? Well, fear not, because Keeps has got you covered. Keeps is an online subscription service, making it easier and more affordable than ever for men to tackle male pattern baldness right from the comfort of home. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just looking to take better care of the hair you have, Keeps has what you need. Keeps offers clinically proven treatments, including not one, but 2 FDA-approved options, plus a convenient 2-in-1 combo treatment. With nearly 1 million satisfied customers and over 5,000 glowing 5-star reviews, Keeps is the name you can trust when it comes to keeping your hair. So why wait? Say goodbye to hair loss frustration and hello to a summer of confidence. Head over to keeps.com/Chael Sonnen or click on the link in the description to snag a special offer. That's KEEPS.com/Chael Sonnen or just click on the link below. Apparently, and it's something to this vein, but there became what calls trolls, and it's very big. Like, the internet is a very big deal in our industry. If you can create a rumor or some level of speculation on the internet, you really couldn't go to a better place for our industry. And there's actually a historical reason for that, where our lifeblood was the .coms. But I share with you because some kids did a level of research and ESPN took down the advertisements for 303. And when I was getting these messages, I finally pushed back. How would you know? That becomes my question. How would you know? I mean, listen to what you're saying. Saying ESPN took down the advertisement. How would you know? Like, are you sitting there watching ESPN and you haven't seen it in a while? Because that's not evidence. Or did you see 303 but you didn't see Conor's face? Just for example. And so what I would have to correct them one by one is, hey guys, 303 is happening. Oh, I know it's happening. Well, okay, but you just said they took down the advertisements. Why would you take down an advertisement if the event is still happening? Like, I mean, do you see the problem with your own theory? Then some smart marks went to YouTube, and Conor McGregor's free fight was taken down. I believe it was opposite Nate Diaz. It had been removed. And because that fight had been removed, Conor will not be fighting Michael Chandler on June 29th. I don't have the foggiest idea how you marry those two ideas together. I'm just sharing with you. It was so big that companies had to come out with a press release to deal with the trolls, to let them know everything is as scheduled. And all we have is clues. And you get to hedge your bet based on the clues. But I do enjoy hearing from people, right? I mean, this is either going to happen or it's not. It's yes or it's no. And there are so many things in life that get so complicated, right? Like, I've met people and they sell books and they put on the nice suit and they speak to classes. They're going to tell you about the stock market and what you should look for. It's like, I appreciate that stuff, and I'm not even saying that you're wrong from a fundamental standpoint, but the stock can either go up or it goes down. You can go get your degree on that and you can write 1,000-page books. You can do all of those things, but it either goes up or it goes down. So with a random guess and no education, you have a 50% chance of being right. I mean, do you understand? It's one of these things because the Conor situation is oddly unique. I was told by a trusted industry source that the press conference was canceled because the canceling of a press conference created more press than the conference. And I was terribly annoyed when I'm on the phone and I'm having to hear that. The indication there being like a theory, a conspiracy that was launched and put ahead. And it was just weird. It really was a weird thing to hear. And it doesn't make it inaccurate. Nick Diaz, not showing up for his press conference with George St. Pierre, did more press than had he shown up. I understand that. But I am still stuck in dwelling on this because the question is no longer the press conference. The question is the fight and how behaviors at the press conference, including a cancellation or postponement, affect or indicate whether or not the fight will happen. I'm just not sure how we're marrying those ideas. I mean, by example, we found out about the press conference 1 week ago. We didn't have a press conference. We found out through an announcement 1 week ago. Now, we did have the fight. We did have an agreement. We did have a venue. We had tickets on sale. We had card placement. We had a weight class. We had the two athletes. So we then announced a press conference, of which doesn't happen. So we come out the other side of that questioning the fight. Every single fight on that card and every single fight that's booked anywhere in the world has the same probability of happening or not, because those are the only two options. Where I get confused as an objective thinker is how uniquely this fight has got tied into a press conference. Well, Chael, if you cancel a press conference, you're not going to do the fight. Well, we didn't have the press conference. That's the difference. Most cards, when we have them, including 304, 305, 307, they're far in advance. The press conferences, specific dates, who's going to be invited, everything is already done. I understand those things. This was oddly unique in that it wasn't scheduled. It wasn't planned. There was already a record box office. Like, this was a real treat. But it didn't have anything to do with the fight. I mean, up until 1 week ago when it was announced, we still had the fight. So coming out the back end, we're in the same exact position with this fight as we were 1 week ago prior to the announcement. Now, I don't want to just go in circles here. I want to discuss that because it's our biggest clue. And now you're hearing speculation of Conor being hurt. And Conor put out a tweet and it had an image, put out something, Instagram, whatever the social media platform, but the story is the picture of which is a medical facility. I saw some people re-report and call it a doctor's office, and some people called it a hospital, and in fairness, I never saw the picture myself, but it doesn't really make a bit of difference. That backdrop is there to tell you a story, of which Conor's words did not. Conor did not say, I'm at the doctor's, I'm working through some stuff. Obviously, this is why I canceled the press conference. I'm dealing with some personal, some medical. None of that was done, but it was designed to make you come to a conclusion thereabouts. And there is now talk of a backup fighter for that contest. That part to me was a little bit surprising. I just assumed there'd be one. And for a lot of our really big fights, we're bringing in backup fighters, but we, the audience, most times don't know. It's very rare that we do know who that person is. Give you a great example, but Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington, part 2 at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, killer event, absolutely sold out. Vincent Luque came through the curtain and weighed in the prior day. And when he came through the curtain is the first we ever knew that Luque was the backup for that fighter. I mean, they kept that secret. None of his teammates, none of his training partners, none of his coach, nobody knew that behind the scenes, he had a deal worked out. He was getting a financial participation. He had to get his licensing and everything set in New York. And that's just very common, is my point. When we do these things, we're generally not told who the backup is. But a lot of times there is one. And in this case, it has been revealed to us that there was not one. So as you scramble and as you look, you have a very different answer. Like Conor versus anyone, of course, works. Conor not being part of the card is going to change things drastically. And that's where the backup fighter, when you have advance notice, such as we would now, that's where the backup fighter doesn't have to be the same fighter. And we've seen this tested as well. Sergey Pavlich was the backup should anything happen to Jones and or Stipe. But because it happened early enough, not at the weigh-in where somebody missed weight or something happened, because it happened earlier, we brought in Tom Aspinall. We left Stipe out of the equation completely. So we had a backup fighter that fought, but he was not in a backup position. So some of these things can be very interesting and they can be very complicated. I am never going to get off, and I'm going to stay on one question, because I do believe it's going to be Conor versus Chandler. I don't believe ESPN stopped advertising. I don't believe the fights were taken off YouTube in conjunction with this. I don't believe the press conference and Conor's participation in the fight are married and or are together. But I will admit, the one thing I can't answer is why cancel the press conference? And when I've asked that question very simply, including to insider, they will go down a path of Conor. Well, we don't know yet. We don't know if he's hurt or sick or a family matter. Some people are speculating a funeral, like all they say. No, stop. You're combining. I'm asking why cancel the press conference. I'm not asking if Conor was going to be there or not. There's been cards where the main fighter doesn't show up. There's been press conferences where the main guy doesn't show up. They haven't been canceled. It's a simple question by me. It's not meant to be a trick. I don't have that answer. I like to learn things. If I could learn anything about this, I would want to know why cancel the press conference. There's Zoom, there's Skype, there's a statement, there's disappointment, there's a stage, there's the boss, the biggest star in the entire sport, and there's Michael Chandler, who's the first guy ever that was going to show up and attempt to go toe-to-toe with McGregor. Even if he left with a bruised ego and feeling embarrassed, he was going to take that risk. And we had all of those pieces in place. Why cancel the press conference?